All right, let's call this one the Dr. Keither was right email stream here. So if you think that the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction did not know about the MPS deficiencies and the multitude of MPS deficiencies and hasn't been working hand in glove with MPS since at least 2021 on many, if not all, of these issues that they're now raising to the public after the referendum, then you should stay tuned because we've got some things here. All right, let's just roll right into it because what the heck. So this is from Dr. Keither here. This person I want to highlight is Jones Benjamin R. from DPI. He is the Chief Legal Counsel for the Department of Public Instruction. He is an attorney. He had formerly worked with a management side firm. I think that's fairly fair to say, under Dean Dietrich, Wisconsin attorney here. Only time I've ever worked with Dean Dietrich is on representing school boards and municipalities. So I think that there is a valid criticism to be made of the Department of Public Instruction, that it is really acting on behalf of school districts and not pupils or parents. That's for sure. And I think that to the extent that it does influence school district moves, it's mostly to give them cover, and it certainly will never I'm completely baffled by the fact that the Department of Public Instruction seems to be publicly going after Milwaukee Public Schools, because we've got this train of emails here saying that they won't do that. So let's get into them. All right, but this is Benjamin Jones, against Chief Legal Counsel for the Department of Public Instruction, going back to March 25th of 2022. Hey, Debbie, I talked with Ben this morning, probably yours truly, to get some context for your request. In hindsight, I should have provided you with an introduction to Courtney Reed Jenkins before she contacted you. She is one of the co-leaders of a comprehensive monitoring effort we are developing regarding MPS. And I wanted to connect you with her so that you could help inform that effort. Now, just for context, my understanding is, as you know, Dr. Holliday is a large figure in all of this, especially with Dr. Keither. And as you know, there's allegations that Dr. Keither went to the Department of Workforce Development and tried to get Dr. Holliday's race complaint against Milwaukee Public Schools and Superintendent Posley, and they told her that no such thing existed. We understand at this time here that LaToya Holliday, that's Dr. Holliday's wife, was working for the Department of Public Instruction and was essentially the leader of the comprehensive monitoring efforts that they were developing regarding MPS. But then she left about this time. May have had something to do with Debbie Keither. I don't know. But that's where we're at. Okay? Now, my understanding is the timing of Courtney's call yesterday was not good, given some other communications involving you and state agencies. That's probably Department of Public Instruction and, Department of Workforce Development and the Dr. Holliday issue, 100%. So I understand this request and your reluctance to communicate with Courtney or DPI moving forward. I do ask that if you have any concerns, or especially if you have any evidence that DPI is interfering with your case, again, at the Department of Workforce Development, her ERD case, please let me know. Again, I understand trust is an issue, but I would like to address that behavior if it is occurring. Okay. Okay. Attached are the records responsive to your request. I withheld internal DPI emails. Oh, as those constitute privileged attorney-client communications? If you have to read these responses pretty carefully, because that's him. He is an attorney working for the Department of Public Instruction. He is not the Department of Public Instruction's attorney. Those are totally different things. And for her, in my opinion, to claim attorney-client privilege there is kind of silly. But that's what they're doing. Let's go. Here is March 26th. Hey, Attorney Jones. Hi, Attorney Jones. Thank you for the immediate follow-up on the open records request from yesterday. Most of my other open records requests take months to fulfill, so this is exciting to see such a quick fulfillment. I appreciate your acknowledgement of my trust concerns. You are already aware of the volume of information that has been provided to your office beginning over 7 months ago. So, March, we go back to in 2021, Debbie Keither is giving information to the Department of Public Instruction regarding MPS and their failures to provide a free and appropriate public education and conform to the Wisconsin statutes that the Department of Public Instruction nominally enforces, I think is the best word. Nominally. I like that one. All right. I have submitted information through Dropbox links which exceeded the capacity that you have provided, as well as through numerous emails. I have compiled emails in formats that have been requested by you, meaning you're saying this is too much information. So I went and did a bunch of work and put this all together in an easier format for you to digest, according to your preference. And I have even made conclusory generalizations to help synthesize the volumes of data that have been shared. Uh-oh, Debbie. I might have to get you with one of these guys. I have even made, all for no interest or benefit of my own, but rather to ensure that our Wisconsin Department of Instruction had awareness to interject and fulfill their governance duties on behalf of Milwaukee students. There's been a lot of people saying a lot of things about Debbie Keither and what her motivations are. But I think it's good for people to see this. Due to the evidence I have, or lack thereof, these attempts to engage Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction and other systems have been dismissed. Although that I know that DPI, particularly your legal office, has stated discrimination and retaliation is not in your wheelhouse, it is a consideration that I must begin to enact, since the severity of the ramifications for employees like me are evident and painful. That's saying, I know you say there's no such thing as retaliation, but it sure feels like retaliation on this end. At this point, I would ask you to contact my legal representative, yours truly, for any further communications. It is imperative that I begin to consider my own well-being as I proceed through the rest of this process. All right. We'll keep going. One thing that's great, by the way, about a Dr. Keither email is that you frequently need to do work in response to them or answer in a way that you might not ordinarily do. For example, here's Ben Jones again. Oh, nope. I guess he didn't send a response. So she says, I hope that the attached Baker-Tilly audit is not the DPI's first awareness of the material weakness and sufficient deficiencies identified within. This report is a work of internal whistleblowers who sacrifice everything when no one else is holding the district accountable for services to students and taxpayer funds. What is noted in this report is shameful and basic for any school district that is operating and with a multi-billion-dollar budget nonetheless. I have reviewed the document with federal auditors many times since it was published, and I am still completely baffled by the lack of monitoring of millions of dollars by any agency associated with this funding. You will notice that there are licensing issues for special educations which total in excess of $90 million, something that WIDPI must be monitoring. My hope is that if you have not already started a forensic audit of all Title, I assume it means special education budgets associated with MPS, Title IX maybe, that you do so immediately or identify the responsible agency. There is only more forthcoming as these audits have just skimmed the surface. When there are all children in our care that have not received due diligence, then no one can be spared and all must be held accountable. And that's Dr. Keither right there. Bam. I hope you can acknowledge some level of work by the WIDPI and understand that my goal is to begin the repair and necessary monitoring that is proven to be a necessity. State Superintendent Jill Underly would not fare well with these kinds of outcomes being attributed to her watch. Thank you for your follow-up on behalf of Milwaukee students and families. Here's the third one he doesn't respond to, but she gets them. All right. Hey, Ben Jones, feel free to respond to this email. Having not seen any evidence of actions, results, outcomes of the WI, I have started to engage major forums around the state. Milwaukee's children are dying as a result of the failure of public education system and the failed leadership of the agencies that are charged with monitoring, including WPI and Jill Underly. I waited to avail myself once again to Jill Underly to discuss these failures and provide a course of resolution placing children, not paychecks, in the forefront. I know Miss Underly is probably very busy, but if she cannot make time for discussion of the 65,000 students and billions of dollars, then I will oblige the platforms that have been available to me. This is before deliberate indifference, but this is part of the germination. I think we could probably say that. Today, my topic of discussion was DPI's failure to address $96 million licensure issue for Milwaukee special education, a portion of which is captured below. I am scheduled to continue this discussion at several upcoming speaking engagements around the state. DPI has left the people of Milwaukee and Wisconsin with no alternative. All right. Here, just so we're clear, below is a portion of the Baker-Tilly audit, and I think this is what gets him to respond. Here we go. Award amount, $56 million. State agency, Department of Public Instruction. Criteria. According to the guidance provided in the state of Wisconsin section statutes 115.88, staff must be appropriately licensed for special education work listed in state statute in order for their salary and benefits to be eligible for aid. Condition. The no valid license report created and provided by the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction included 1,085 individuals for which no valid license were found. Salary and benefits totaled $96 million for these 1,085 individuals. Holy cow. It must be year on year, but that's a lot of money. That's a cool $96,000 per employee, per special education employee, by the way. I mean, more power to that, but that's, they bargained well, we can say. Holy cow. Here we go. After all that, here's the response. Hi, Debbie. Dr. Keith, to you. I got your email. Thank you. Regarding the issue raised in the audit that was the product of a technical reporting issue and incorrectly reported MPS unlicensed special education teachers. I am working on giving you a more complete description of that technical issue and how it was resolved, but please know that NPS did not in fact employ over 1,000 properly staffed individuals. The unit and DPI working on MPS monitoring is still planning to incorporate the information you have provided and any information you provide in the future into its work moving forward. Sincerely, Ben Jones, Chief Legal Counsel. So when they had everything that they had all this information and more, we can say, in May of 2022. By the way, we go. Dr. Keither, I believe, goes on to say that that's the tiniest part of the issues in here, and it's not clear. The data keeps being reported incorrectly. But we'll get into that. I cannot tell you the amount of times that I've heard that there are entire classes in MPS that have no licensed teacher whatsoever, entire middle schools that have no licensed teacher. But hey, that's just my experience. All right. So we will wrap it up here, but this is what you all need to understand here. We have been in on this since well before. DPI has some questions to answer about why it's taken so long and why they waited till after the referendum to supposedly address these issues. please know we've got a lot more. Stick with us. We'll keep you informed.